The G502 was kind of our first real move away from a design language that had been kind of standard for around a decade.
So when it came to the G502, we had an awful lot of ambitions that we wanted to see realized in one product, basically.
It was a huge amount of kind of rapid iteration. You had to think differently about it. It wasn't the same old gaming mouse again, right? This was something where we were taking a completely different approach, and for sure it generated a design language that's lasted a long time in Logitech, right? And probably that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had that kind of focus on performance.
When it came to looking at gaming, it's pretty simple to say, every millisecond matters in gameplay. So we needed to get to a point where we could start to quantify what made a difference, what added performance. Really, it was kind of redesigning the design process that we had, I suppose, worked with for many years before that. And that was really about bringing new tools to bear on the process. This concept, we used to refer to it as directional grip. It was really just about comfort. So is there an orientation that we can place microtextures or patterns that mean you're not using as much force to lift and position something? I mean, we take this stuff for granted today. We've got software and you get to organically map a pattern and control its height and depth almost with levers. We didn't have that back then.
No, this was all done every triangle one at a time. It's a small detail, but once you add all the small details together, you get a huge jump in performance, right?
When we think back, the heat mapping was a real unlocker for both the design language, but equally and more importantly for the performance of the devices.
So what we're doing is taking a thermal camera, getting people to play with the mouse for a certain amount of time, then they take their hand off and you can see exactly where they're touching. Every individual touch point on the mouse was evaluated with heat mapping, with the high-speed camera, all of that stuff, so that you get a full picture of what's actually going on.
They wanted us to push limits. They gave us the freedom to try all of these experiments, basically. And I think G502 was the first time that we actually got to embody all of the learnings that we had developed through the design language, through 602, through 402. 502 is kind of like, that's where it all emerged.